joining me. It's another edition of the program, Guest of the Week. I am so delighted to have you with me. My name is Jane Madwaguna. Welcome on board with me on this fresh episode. Now for today, my guest is a talented business development professional. He's into project and process management, and he does a lot with his team. Let me quickly give you a look into his educational background. First and foremost, he attended Ekulu Primary School, GRA Enugu, to obtain his first school leaving certificate. And from there, he attended College of Immaculate Conception, also in Enugu, for his West Africa School certificate. And from there, he went to Ebonyi State University for his BSc in Computer Science. He didn't stop there. He had 2 master's degrees. The first, MSc, was obtained at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and then he went ahead to ESUT Business School for his MBA. Who's my guest? In a short while, you'll be meeting with him. Let's go for a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Time to meet my guest. Join me as I introduce to you Prince Ozioma Annie. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Wow, it's a pleasure really meeting you.
Yeah.
You look young, but you're doing a whole lot, to impact in the lives of
Thank
people.
you. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, let's quickly move into those things you're doing. You've held some positions in the past, some you're currently still holding, and you are doing a lot for humanity. Let me start with you being into innovative project design and management. How has this really benefited humanity?
All right. Thank you very much. First of all, let me say that the world we live in today is a world that is governed by innovations. All right. And having been around technology, that's what I studied, and that's the field where I play the most. All right. So it becomes necessary to innovate at every point in time. So this is the core of every other thing that we have done over the years, is to innovate. We believe that whatever we do, there has to be a better way, a faster way of getting those things done. So generally, whether it's technology or every other thing that we have done, we always try to bring in innovation. What other ways can this be done? What better ways can things be done? What faster ways can things be done? That's basically what it's about, when we innovate around things.
Okay.
So when we also help young people and we will mentor young people like us, this is how we bring these things to bear. That whatever you do, there has to be a better way to do it. There has to be a faster way to do it. There has to be an easier way to do it. Probably a cheaper way to get the same thing done, basically.
And you mentor a lot of young people.
Oh, yes.
And they flow with what you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean...
Wow, that's really good to know. Now, looking at your work history, you're currently holding different positions as well. First, you are head business development for Southeast, and this is under Blue Horizon.
All right. Let me first say that that organization is basically a technology-driven organization. It provides technology solutions to government agencies, to corporate organizations, and all that. All right. So when I held that position, that was my previous position before now. When I held that position, I basically developed businesses, technology solutions around the Southeast. Part of the major programs and projects that we did, that I handled, was, first of all, we automated the payroll system for Enugu State government, Enugu State Primary Education Board, upon which all the teachers in the states, were paid through our platform. Not just Enugu, we did the same for Abia State and a couple of other states, which I spearheaded. In the course of that project, a lot was done, both for the state government. We had a lot of savings. We saved a lot of money for the state government. Enugu and Abia, especially a part of Imo also, a little project for Imo State, So, and because we had all the, when we did that project was when this issue of ghost worker thing, ghost worker syndrome was very rampant across states. All right, so you find situations where, for example, in Enugu, we're able to bring down the number of employees from over 16,000 to about 13,000 something.
Wow.
All right. Actual workers, saving huge monies,
amount of money
for the state government, and the state was able to channel back that resources into other developmental projects. So apart from that, there are a couple of other businesses that we've been able to do that helped young people. In the course of doing that project, of course, it created a lot of employment for young people, and even old people too. So a lot of technology-driven people, young people were able to come on board, and they were trained and they were modeled to follow the same process. So it was a very fantastic time with Blue Horizon.
Okay. Now, let me move into your Spell Genius B. You are the convener, and currently this is still on.
Yes.
And what do you do with this?
All right. So Spell Genius B is something that was born out of an impending need in the environment. So we found out, for example, that having worked with a lot of young people, I found out that most times when you employ people, when you employ graduates, or for example, interact with people, they speak well. They speak so well. But when you give that same person a paper and pen to write, it becomes difficult. And because of the age that we're in, technology has made it in a way that because of technological advancement, now we have to write shorthands, short notes. So if I want to say you, I'll write you, the word you, instead of Y-O-U. So over time, the spelling culture begins to elude from the minds of young people. I mean, this is happening to us at our age. So you can imagine what happens to the younger ones that are coming after us. And then I remember that when I was growing up, we used to come to NTA to do spelling competitions, quiz competitions, and all that. But in this time, for the ones coming after us, those things are beginning to fizzle away. And this is not far from the invent of a lot of private schools, because back in the days it was government schools, so there were inter-school competitions, spelling competitions, and all that, right? So the truth is that when you interact with young people today and you ask them to spell words, they find it difficult to spell those words. They can say it, they can call it, they can pronounce it, but they can't write it. You understand? It becomes difficult. So I felt that there's need to catch them young, to go back to the roots, these young children, and begin to organize these competitions. Now the idea is to get children to begin to pronounce words correctly, all right? And that's how we started. So we had the first edition for primary school and secondary schools, and then gradually became a yearly thing. This is part of our corporate social responsibility, to the environment. So it's really not our core. It's just something we do to help, to support the education sector, which is one sector that I am very passionate about. Let me also say that part of the reasons why this came was that my organization at the time, we were looking at how can we give out scholarships and support students in their education. So we started by selecting randomly students to give scholarships to randomly, and then after that we now went to schools to find best students. But we found out that some of these students that are smart and bright, their parents can actually afford their fees. Okay, so we now thought, okay, should we find the ones that are poor? So these are part of the challenges. So we now decided, since we had decided to do a competition, the winners of those competitions can actually benefit. So it became a way to reward students, by giving them some form of scholarship, to train them through school. Let me also say that part of the competition is to bring together students from both government and private schools, mission schools, church schools, irrespective of your school. It's open. So parents can register their children and have them compete in that competition. And I have always told my team, it's not about who won. It's about that interaction, that exposure for these young children. And everywhere I go to today, I see lots of young people who have either been through the competition at one stage or the other, and they're like, oh, uncle, and sometimes I feel like it's teacher that I am not, and it's quite very exciting, that experience.
That's really good to know. You're also the convener of Kadosh Inspired. This has been on since 2010.
Yes.
And my question is, what do you do under this platform, and how does it benefit humanity?
All right. So now let me start by saying that Kadosh Inspired is something that I started from my community. Let me start from there. And the reason is because where I come from, I'm a son from the hill, by the way. So where I come from, every time we travel back home for Christmas, everybody comes back home, and we're just thinking of, okay, what next? Apart from going to your cousin's house or your uncle's house and you're back, that's all.
How do you put the next spark?
Yeah, so, something has to gather people together. And like I said, I'm a son from the hill, and my people are very religious people. So I figured, okay, maybe we should put together a little Christmas concert. Something that brings everybody together, irrespective of your village, irrespective of your age, irrespective of, what affinities that you have. So that's how we started in 2010. So we put together the first one then. It's a Christmas concert that brings together gospel artists and all that together to just celebrate the season and celebrate Christmas. And that's how it started. And it's been on. It's an annual event. By the way, I will invite you for this year's own.
Are you the one footing the bill?
Yes, I foot the bill actually. Okay. So it's a free event. So it's not a paid event. It's basically free. So we just come together and celebrate the season and celebrate Christmas because we are all Christians.
Showing love and sharing.
Showing love and then sharing love, basically. That's what it's about.
Okay. You're still watching Guest of the Week this beautiful day. I do hope you're having a beautiful time. We will take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with me. Welcome back. My guest is still here talking about Prince Ozioma Ani. Now, Prince Ozioma, what is TWS and what do you do with TWS?
All right. Now, TWS is an acronym for the Wedding Showcase. So my friend and I, his name is Dr. Kachi Ugwa. He's an events person and he's a great person in the industry, one of the best in the Southeast. So at the time he came up with this idea that we have a lot of vendors, say for example in the city of Enugu, people who are hardworking, young people. Some of them are friends, some of them are mentees, some of them are people that we basically interact with and we know in the Southeast. And these guys are working so hard. But most times you find out that anytime there will be an event in Enugu, for example, a big event, the people that are organizing this event will bring nearly all the vendors from Lagos or Port Harcourt, maybe. So we figured that it's important to showcase what we have, the vendors that we have in the city. That's how it came about. So when he came up with that idea, it made a lot of sense. I'm not into events, but it's a sector that I love, and because I have a lot of people that play in that sector, I said, okay, fine. I think it's something that makes a lot of sense, and that's how it came about, the first edition. So basically, what we did was to see how we can create a platform that supports the events and the vendor industry in the city. All right. So we reached out to them and we said, okay, everybody, we need to come together and let's create a platform and then let's showcase what you do and what you have. So that's how we started. So the first edition, we brought them together for a 2-day exhibition. Come and showcase. So 2-day exhibition and then one day training and seminar where we bring in resource persons to come and teach them and train them on the tools, on how to become better, how to become innovative, how to use technology, how to ready your market properly, and all that training one day. Then the final day of the event usually is a fashion runway event where we bring in international brands to come on the same platform with local brands. So while you see a Maya Atafo, for example, or an Ouch, or some of the big brands and the big names on the international stage, you see some of the Enugu or some of the let me not use the word local, but some of the home brands also on the same platform. And it begins to tweak the mind of the people that there's really not much difference between what this guy is bringing and what this guy is bringing, apart from the name, the big name. So we pay a lot for the big names. Meanwhile, it's also somewhere around here at an affordable price.
So you made them realize that made at home is also beautiful.
Absolutely. Made at home is beautiful, fantastic. So that's what TWS is about. It supports our made at home brands, vendor community and all that.
Okay. Now, another one is the foundation that you have, SRG Foundation. What do you do with your foundation?
SRG stands for Silver Ridge Group, which is the organization that I run currently. All right. So we found out that there are a lot of things. First of all, let me say that every organization must find a way to give back to the environment where they operate. So a couple of things that we do them informally in unstructured ways. So what we decided to do is to put all of them together under the Silver Ridge Foundation Group, Silver Ridge Group Foundation, which is an arm that we use to do all of our CSR and all of our giving back and every other thing that we do. So for example, for a very many number of years now, we have this widows program where we gather widows together and just, share fellowship with them and then give out items to them. It's something we just do normally without putting a structure around it, for example. So the school thing, the scholarship thing, all of that. So what we've decided to do now going forward, starting this year actually, was to put all of them under a foundation, under a structure, a formal structure. And like you probably might know, part of my major interest, because I have something to do with young people. I have affinity with young people. So part of the things we do is to mentor young people, is to help young people, is to support young people. And a lot of times support is not necessarily money, because sometimes we think or we believe that when you give someone money, you've helped the person. Money is a least in the cadre, because if you give the person money today, he'll blow the money, he'll change his wardrobe.
And then come back.
And then come back tomorrow. Right? So part of what we do is to see how we can support these young people beyond just giving out money, even though we have to at some point.
Teach them to fish.
Absolutely.
What's the future really for you when it comes to helping young people? What is this drive? What do you hope really to put into them?
Let me start by saying that while growing up, we understood that the young people, we are the leaders of tomorrow, right? And I look at what we have today, the crop of young people that we have today, and I ask myself, are these the people who will lead us tomorrow? And oftentimes I don't blame the young people, really, because, it's what they are given, the environment that they're exposed to, that they give out, all right? So if you look at the entire system in this country today, really, it's not, it doesn't help to build or to mold the kind of young people that we need for the future, for example, right? So oftentimes when I interact with young people, my interest is to begin to tweak something in their minds. There's a mindset that young people have in this country. Part of the mindset is the mindset of dependency. That's part of it. We believe that someone owes us, that our uncle should help us, that our elder brothers should help us, that even our parents should help us, that someone has to help us, that your neighbor should help you, that politician should come and help you, that this person should come and help you. And it takes away our inept ability to work hard, to think, to reason, to bring in our ideas and our abilities into the forefront. So this is part of the things that we try to tweak in young people, that nobody owes you anything. If they do it for you, that's okay, that's fantastic, that's added bonus. Part of the mindset also is this thing that when you graduate, you get a job and you start working and you start making money, which in the environment that we live today, it doesn't work, because we look at both the government sectors and all the sectors we expect that jobs are coming. Unfortunately today, it's not coming. There's no government that has an agenda of job creation as we speak today. So everybody says, oh, you have to become an entrepreneur, which is where all of us have jumped into as young people. No problem. But now the systems also does not provide us with the necessary requisite help that we need. Okay, if you have a beautiful idea, you go to the bank to give you money, nobody's going to give you anything, for example. So these are part of the thing. So we are looking for a crop of young people that are resilient, that are self-sufficient, that can look inwards rather than look outward. This is what we're looking at. And by God's grace, a lot of the young people that I've come across, this is one thing that is consistent among them, that if you have a skill, that we can polish that skill to make you self-sufficient, to make you dependable. Because in the climate we live in today, we see young men, 25, 30 something, still living with their parents, still depending on their parents, on their elder ones or something like that. So this is my drive. My interest is to have a crop of young people who are self-sufficient, who are dependable, who can look inward and look at their abilities and the things that God has blessed them with and bring them to fore.
Okay. In the course of doing your job, I'm sure you've received, one or two or several awards to say, well done. Share a few with us.
All right. Well, awards. I've gotten quite a number of awards, to be honest. Plenty of awards, as a matter of fact. But some awards have stood out for me, and I think I should just mention those ones because I can't even remember, all of the awards I've gotten. But I know that recently, Enugu State Government, there was an award that was given through the youth arm of the state. Recently, they gave an award for the most influential young people in Enugu. It's an award I've received for the past 2 years. It's been done twice, and for those 2 times, I received that award, for which I am grateful to God and to the state for. I've also gotten an award from churches, Methodist Church Nigeria and the Anglican Church Nigeria. Sometime last year, I got an award from a political party that I belong to. It was a national award, funny enough, which was also fantastic. I've gotten an award from plenty of awards, for the things that we do and we've been doing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
All right. Now, looking at today's youth, do you think mentoring is enough to be able to push them to do the needful?
Mentoring the young people is not enough. It's just the beginning. Because what mentoring does, there are two things that mentoring does, all right? The first thing it does is, like I said earlier, it tweaks something in your mind. There's a mind shift, there's a change in perception in the way you perceive things. But beyond that, it also shows you a picture of someone who is in the direction that you're supposed to be going. These are the two things that mentoring does, all right? But, the challenge we have is that we have few people who mentor young people, right? And the resources, like I mentor a lot of young people, I don't have enough resources to finance all the young people I mentor. You don't even have to spend the money. You can guarantee them. If you find 10 promising young men from your community, 20 from your community, you can walk into a financial institution and say, okay, on my office, I guarantee them, give them 10 million. In 2 years, they will pay back. If they don't pay back, I will pay. If you put that guarantee on the table, I'm sure, something can be worked on. And if that happens, it means that in 2 years, you could have 10 millionaires from your community. So mentoring is important, but that's not all that is required. A lot more has to happen.
Okay. What are some of the qualities, really, that has helped you as an individual to succeed?
All right, a couple of things has helped me. First of all is the God factor, which is the part that we are not going to remove any day from, my story or my success story. The God factor is constant, has always been there, and to which we owe all of the things that we have done. But apart from that, I am a product of mentoring. That's one. Secondly, one of the things that God has given to me is the gift of good people, good relationships. So oftentimes, I love to have, like you said, I'm quite young, given the little that we've been able to do. But the reason is because from when I was small, all my friends has always been people that are way ahead. So I never really had friends that were at my level, that we had to all go out drinking or doing that. And I never really, had that. So I've always had people who I had to look up to, not people I had to look at. People who will inspire me. Yes. So, and I cultivate that relationship. And most time when I go to them, I'm not going to collect money from them. I'm just going to stay around them and learn and look at them and observe and see how they do the things that they do. And that's one of the things that has helped me. Exposure is also part of it. Okay? Exposure is also part of it. And education is also part of it. And when I say education, I don't just mean what we do in the four walls of the university. As a matter of fact, that's the most basic of education. All right? But the internet is here. A lot of young people have expensive phones and data on those phones, but all they do is to chat and play around and post on Facebook, social media and all that. But that device in your hand is a tool to be educated. Currently, I'm about to start a program in a foreign university on my phone without traveling to that place. So education is one of the skills that has also helped me, And like I said, innovation. I believe in consistently improving. I believe that as we sit here today, if we meet in 1 year time or in 2 year time, I won't be where I am, So it's something that has kept me also going.
What's your advice, especially one to the society and then to young people who are looking up to people like you? Not just to inspire them, but take them to that level that they wish to get to in life. What's your advice?
All right. So let me start with young people. My first advice to young people is, first of all, there's a future. There's a future that we want to be part of. So the first question you ask yourself is, what I'm doing now, if I continue to do what I'm doing now, will it bring me to that future that I dream about? Because it's only a fool that does the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. Whatever it is you do, be the best at it. If you're in school, be the best at it. Give it your best. Give it your strength. Focus on it. Avoid distractions. In this country, we have a lot of distractions. Avoid distractions. Keep at it, and you will find that, because like I always tell people, when a carpenter wants to drive a nail into a wood, he has a nail and a hammer. When he puts it and hits it the first time, that nail might not go into that wood. It might just go in a little bit. You don't stop. You keep hitting at it. You keep hitting until the objective is achieved. Exactly. So if you are an entrepreneur, a young person doing something, don't just try the first 1 month or the first 2 months and you feel, oh, this is not working. Oh, no. Keep at it. Focus on it long enough and it will give you the required.
You have heard it all on this edition. It's been hot. It's been really beautiful. From my guest, Prince Ozioma Ani. He says, young people, it's very good to cultivate good relationships. Be around people that will inspire you. Then You go the next step to do the needful. Don't give up. Keep on pushing. Remain focused. Use your time wisely. When you're on the social media, why would you be wasting all that time? Use it for something that will uplift your life. Next week, I'll still be here with you. I want to thank you, my guest, Prince Ozioma Ani, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for all your insights. My name is Jane Madwagna. I'll be here again next week. Stay blessed.